My name is Mary Beth LaPlaca. We are here to celebrate the class of 2014's graduation. Although I've only been here for 4 years, compared to all of you being here for more than a decade, I feel I've come to know and love all of you. I know that we all have bright futures ahead of us. Congratulations, class of 2014. I now have the honor to introduce Superintendent Carol Jacobs.
Thank you and good morning, everyone. Chairman Linares, members of the Georgetown School Committee, Selectman Eggenberg, esteemed colleagues, family, friends, and most importantly, class of 2014. Again this year, it's my honor and privilege to be given the opportunity to welcome you to this important and special ceremony. As a mother of 3 grown sons, I know how proud your parents are of you today, and as you leave the Georgetown Middle High School as high school graduates, and embark on new, exciting personal pursuits. As an educator, I join the faculty and staff in feeling a sense of pride in your accomplishments, and I feel confident that you're ready for the next step. It is really a joy to have time with you today and your families to celebrate this great achievement, and while this day is always somewhat bittersweet, it offers the promise of great new things to come. In the few minutes I have to speak to you today, I thought about 2 things. The first is the significance of this day as an important milestone that physically, and I guess officially, bridges your days of childhood with your move into young adulthood. I bet you and your parents sit here today, you wonder, where has the time gone? How quickly did this day come when not so long ago it seemed so far away? Do you remember the days when you arrived at school bundled up with those backpacks that were twice as big as you were? When your parents kissed you goodbye at the front door of the school and you began to learn how to navigate the often tricky world of being a student. Even though these days have passed, I suspect they will represent special memories, some of those many significant small moments that you're never going to forget. The second inspiration for my comments today is the legacy of Mr. Frank Goldberg and the way he has inspired countless students to appreciate the nuances of literature and the power of the author's craft and message. For just a minute before you leave your childhood behind, I would like to harken back to those days of curiosity, wonder, and boundless imagination, where the little things in life were simple, what made more sense, and the biggest decisions you had to make were what you were going to eat for dinner or who you were going to play with at recess. For each of you, the happiest childhood memories are unique, but in honor of Mr. Goldberg and his love of books, I'd like to think just for a moment about the times from your childhood when reading a good book was a favorite occasion. While it is true that you are no longer young children who read children's books, I offer to you that some of these old favorites from your past offer some important pearls of wisdom for your life going forward in your future. So I wonder if you remember, Mrs. Fazio gave me some props from Pearlie, Swimmy, Mike Mulligan and Steam Shovel, and Where the Wild Things Are. So I wonder if you remember Swimming by Leo Leone. Swimming was a little black fish when faced with the danger from larger fish, worked with his fellow smaller fish to create an illusion that if they swam together, they could look like a giant fish and be safe. Swimming served as the eye. What can we learn from swimming? How could that possibly be pertinent to your life and the world you're moving into today? Well, I will tell you that you will meet some challenges, big fish, and if you think creatively, you collaborate thoughtfully, if you're a leader, and then you will be a person who's a role model to others, a person people will want to be around, and someone who makes the seemingly impossible possible. Skills I would offer are important for a successful life. In the book Mike Mulligan and the Steam Shovel, Mike Mulligan was faced with a dilemma. You know that book. Some of you probably don't know the book, but I bet your parents do. Dilemmas are not something that is new to you, nor will graduation make that any different. But if you think like Mike Mulligan, you'll learn to turn challenges into opportunities. In the process of digging a cellar hole for the Poplarville's town hall, he was working so hard he buried his steam shovel in the cellar of the building. Rather than fret or give up, what do you think Mike Mulligan did? He used that steam shovel as the boiler in the basement of the town hall. And the lesson here is, as my father used to tell me, when life gives you lemons, what do? You know what you do. You make lemonade, right? So I urge you, challenge you to be persistent, to be tenacious, and never give up. Find creative solutions to the problems you will face, and think outside the box. Innovate, create, continue to make big things happen. And finally, you probably remember Max in the book Where the Wild Things Are. The lesson in this book is you are never too old to use your imagination, to dream big. At the end of the day, remember that there is no place like home, where you can get, as Max did, a warm meal, and where you are loved and cared for and always will be, no matter how old you get. The presence of your loved ones here today is just another testimony to that fact. They have given you roots, and now it's time for you to use your wings. Just as the authors of these books have made their characters come alive with life lessons, my message to you is that you are all authors too. Authors of your own life story. Some chapters you've already written, but the biggest part of the story is still to come. And this ceremony today, while it does mark the end of childhood in a way, begins that new chapter. I urge you to make the book of your life represent the very best you can be, free of regret and unfulfilled dreams, and filled with joy, happiness, and personal satisfaction. Remember the words of Alex Shaker, childhood and adulthood were not factors of age, but states of mind. I want to conclude my comments by talking for a moment about Mr. Goldberg for his over 30 years. For over 30 years, he has awakened students to the power of the written and spoken word. And he has helped many of you and many others find and develop your own personal voice. He is about to begin his second childhood, where he will finally have time to reconnect with his inner child, to play, to create, to explore the possibilities of life post-teaching. Mr. Goldberg has been a teacher to all of you and countless others who have left these school hallways to jump on that road of life, writing their own life stories using the key lessons that were inspired by him. We will all remember personally how he pushed his students to reach high standards through his amazing passion and for his craft, his impeccable character, and his true belief in the goodness and potential of every student, no matter who they were, no matter what their skills or ability. So as Frank Goldberg writes the final chapter of his teaching career, he can do so with pride, knowing he has left a legacy that will always be remembered. And so I'm pleased to welcome all of you to this special day, to this place of celebration, to this momentous occasion. Congratulations, class of 2014. I urge you to sharpen those pencils and get writing. You have an important and amazing personal story to tell. Be well and happy, and thank you.
At this time, I am very honored to recognize our class salutatorian, Mackenzie Snyder.
Good morning, faculty, parents, family, friends, and classmates. On behalf of Georgetown's class of 2014, it is with great honor and pleasure that I welcome you to our graduation today. I am so proud to help present to you this incredible group of people, which has been shaped by you and by each other over the past years. Being part of such a small town, we've watched these familiar faces cast milestone after milestone together, and we now gather here before you at the culmination of all our hard work. Even while juggling school, jobs, sports,
sleeping, procrastinating, and other important extracurricular activities, we have managed to get this done. I want to thank you persons here today for their support through our years at Georgetown High School, and for some of you throughout our entire lives. Parents and family, thank you for your patience and for the countless investments you have made in us. Teachers, thank you for inspiring us to achieve and for devoting your time to us, even considering our frequent attempts to distract you from your job. I would also like to take a moment to thank my family personally for all they've done for me. To my mom, I know you'll never admit it, but it's just as much your doing as it is mine that I'm standing where I am today. To my dad, I'll never forget your words of wisdom, even if I couldn't take you seriously when you said them. To my twin sister, Maddie, no combination of words can do justice in describing our bond. I'm going to miss our 1 a.m. heart-to-hearts, and I'll always cherish our memories. To be honest, when I first found out I had to write this speech, my immediate response was something along the lines of, do I have to? But as time passed, I realized this is an opportunity that only comes once in a lifetime, and I want to use it to share with you how special this graduating class is. I believe what sets us apart from any other class is our ability to laugh and to make others laugh along with us. I'm sure many of our teachers here today can attest to having to shush us for chuckling uncontrollably during class and even tests. But our laughter never meant that we didn't care about what we were doing or that we couldn't take anything seriously. For us, rather, it meant that we were in it together even during the tough times. Whether we commiserated over our schoolwork or those awful soggy wetsuits yesterday on that 40-minute bus ride, or when we seriously struggled to rack up points during pep rally competitions some years. We supported each other entirely, this year in particular, which brought along with it considerable loss and unexpected sadness. Through it all, we have rallied together and have still managed to stick it out with smiles on our faces, following the examples set by some of the strongest, most resilient people I know. In a few moments, we'll be walking across the stage with diplomas in our hands, ready to plunge headfirst into some place called the real world. We don't know much about it, but the one thing we all do know is that we're afraid of it. Therefore, the best advice I can give you as we head our separate ways into this mutual unknown is to keep laughing. Never let that infectious spirit fade, because when everything is said and done, those are the memories you're going to want back. As psychologist Gordon Allport once said, so many tangles in life are ultimately hopeless that we have no appropriate sword other than laughter. With that said, I ask you all to use your humor and spirit in the face of all the change and anxiety you may face in the real world that now awaits us. I know your jokes and your laughter helped me through some of my hardest days, and I hope they can also help you through yours. We're still in this together, and part of us always will be. Class of 2014, our futures begin now. Thank you.
I would now like to present the class valedictorian, Ryan Bahar.
Hi, everyone. All right. My speech is a little more serious, but I'll try to keep it somewhat lighthearted. Here are some musings on life. Your day-to-day life assigns importance to finite, time-bound activities that are truly minuscule in a life made up of thousands of days that blend toward infinity. You, however, live much of your life in a timeless and infinite way. Through a flash of memories, a song that became the undercurrent of your future days, your delay of something that once was important but ultimately faded away. But these infinities, which are boundless in the moment, inevitably pile up with the days until you realize that life is finite, easy to tie a milestone to. Yet even those milestones merge together as your grasp of your own time recedes faster and you keep every day full of those finite time-bound activities because of their structure and their importance to your purposes and goals at the time. That mix of the daily finite embedded in infinite days, with your personal infinities keeping you aware of finite life, has illuminated your life with vividness. That mix has provided you an ebb and flow of meaningful relationships, character-forming experiences, and excitement. Yes, that mix has also taught you about the ripples of tragedy, the decay of friendship, and failure. Yes, that mix has left you, me, us, the class of 2014, tight-lipped and stricken in the pin-drop silence of Chris Heron's booming voice, worried for ourselves while our hearts were cool to fight for each other, left us tearing up in the locker room when our final loss made us think of all the memories we had made. Left us in blue and white, with hands up, in sunken tents, flying down rapids, blazing towards the horizon while effortlessly drifting back into the past. Left us together though divided, left us regretting, left us content. But class of 2014, these infinities, these finities, have not only left you places, but also brought you somewhere. Today is Saturday, June 14th, 2014. Welcome to your high school graduation. Though now is not the time for me to speak about the present, now is the time for me to turn the tables over to myself, to introduce you to some things you may not have known. When I was younger, I spent all of my time hanging out with my neighbors. And by hanging out, I really mean causing trouble. We would run up to neighbors' doors, play ding-dong ditch, and if they caught us in the act and invited us over for dinner right then and there, well, we said no. We have to ask our moms first. We were goalless, unrestrained, happy, but things did not stay this way. Fast forward to freshman year of high school. That's the year when a new phase of my life began. Corruption. No, I don't mean smoking and drinking. I mean that's when I became consumed by a system known as the college admissions process, by my perception of what I had to do in order to reach external goals, by unhealthy habits of associating self-worth with achievement, by overuse of the words I will and neglect of the truths revealed by I am. Fast forward again, senior year. Yes, my paper dreams did come true. Into Brown, ready to take the next step and grow higher. But a void easily came into life when my paper dreams were realized and I could focus on things of real significance, not just superficial trophies and achievements and hard work. In school, I learned that a horizontal line does not travel up or down, but life taught me otherwise. Maintaining constancy in behavior, living on a horizontal line, running through life without conscious purpose true to my soul, a purpose not just related to what was expected from me, nor to what society induced me to expect for myself. That all inevitably brought me down. I let an external reality corrupt my inner life, so I fell hollow. So I questioned myself. I read Buddhist philosophy. I went for runs, I went for walks in the city. No, I did not have a substantial existential crisis, but I did try to find a place inside myself where I could be comfortable and independent. I opened my eyes. I began to see a lot of problems as a result of living life as a routine, as a result of unconscious thoughts and constantly progressing towards something external, as a result of straying away from living for the fun of it, internal living that served as the humdrum of my childhood. I began to see a lot of problems as a result of unnecessary stress, as a result of forgetting about why we are here, as a result of the following mentality. Not being afraid to die, not at all, but living and not remembering why. Before there are conscious thoughts, reactions to newness, impulsiveness, freedom of the mind and spirit, that's how life once stayed in control, that's how I used to feel alive. But failing to live for reason caused an unconscious life to progress into permanent unfulfillment, with fleeting happiness, failed attempts to try to find stability in the instability, and the loss of an answer to one central question that when answered may be able to bring to life emotional vividness and purpose. What's important? Class of 2014, I urge you in these changing times to ask yourself this question and to define what is important to you. In the years that we just lived, we were always eager to experience and to find our identity, but rarely have we had the time or perspective to soak everything in at once and assess where we've been, where we are headed, and who we've become. What do you care about? When you're removed from your current home, your family, your friendships, your life in Georgetown, and put in another context, what are you going to remember? What makes up who you are? I also urge you to avoid the mistakes I have made. I've been distracted by paper dreams. I've lived a routine that's caused me to forget what's important to me. I've been driven by the external instead of internally. The class of 2014, I have one final urge. Once you find your importance, whether it be related to your undying passion for football or to your desire to change the life of a girl you met, never settle for a mediocre life. Though you may have your dreams dulled by your reality, your true test is to never find comfort in the time you waste or the opportunities you close yourself off to. Happiness isn't always easy or comfortable, guys. To get out of a life lived below its potential, you must live in an inspired fashion and break down your restraints, even if you are fearful and feel awkward, as I do now. Class of 2014, are there people on this stage who regret not getting to know better during your high school years? Reach out to them. Give yourself the summer of your dreams. Do you want to go on a road trip with your friends before you go off to college? Set a time, set a place, make sacrifices, commit to it. Lifelong memories are too important to be stopped by your hesitation in the moment. Each of you on this stage, on average, has 2 billion seconds, 540,000 hours, 3,200 weeks, 62 years ahead of you. You have the power to wake up tomorrow morning, the morning after that, the morning when you turn 50, and look into the mirror and tell yourself that today I'm going to give it my all and not just scroll endlessly through a newsfeed. That these are my dreams, this is my reality, and this is how I'm going to make it work. This is how I'm going to live the life that I've imagined. That I'm not going to waste time, for my life and my importance must fearlessly be acted upon. Then, later on, you can go to bed those nights knowing that your life will never be the same again. You can close your eyes and smile. You can dream. And then the next day, those dreams will be your reality. Class of 2014, today is Saturday, June 14, 2014. Welcome to your high school graduation. Thank you, it was an honor.
On behalf of the faculty and staff, I would like to take this opportunity to welcome you to Georgetown High School and the commencement exercises for the class of 2014. Before we honor our seniors today, I would like to give thanks to all of the people that made today's ceremony possible. Mike Anderson and his maintenance and custodial staff for preparing the building today and the grounds just in case. They have been working diligently all week and have been here since 6 a.m. this morning setting things up. Teddy Kosachusik for all of his efforts for providing our sound today. Last I saw him, he's up in the booth up there. Thank you, Teddy. Every year I forget to talk about Charlie Mendez, who's good enough to come here and tape this for local TV and always provides us with a copy. Thank you, Charlie. The musicians in the chorus, led by Mrs. LaFlamme and Mr. Anthony Messina, Mrs. Dodge and the yearbook committee for the wonderful, colorful yearbook, Mr. Umbro, Mrs. Robinson, and Mrs. Kelly for all of the guidance that they gave this class over the past 4 years. Mrs. Gerard and Mr. Sharenda for the masterful job they have done advising this year's graduates, the school committee and the central office staff, led by Superintendent Jacobs, for all of their guidance and support, my administrative staff, Mr. Prescott, Mr. DeFranco, and Mrs. Monjo, for all of their organizational work and assistance, and to my office staff, Mrs. Katie Legere, and a very special thanks to Mrs. Rudy Cudmore, who is the behind-the-scenes director of the day. She is responsible for ordering all of the caps and gowns, the diplomas, the flowers, the list goes on and on. I just do what she tells me. Thank you very much. And finally, to the entire faculty of Georgetown Public Schools, present and retired, who have dedicated their time and energies to today's celebration as their end. At this time, I would also like to recognize two retiring faculty members. Mrs. Robin Hickey, who has dedicated 33 years of service to teaching science in the middle school, and as Mrs. Jacobs said, Mr. Frank Goldberg, who has contributed to the greatness of this school in so many ways, I couldn't possibly name them all. These individuals leave huge shoes to fill and will surely be missed. This year's class is a special class for me because I had the privilege to teach about 20% of them history for about a month. So I don't know if it was as rewarding for them as it was for me. It was wonderful to get back into the classroom, but more importantly, you learn about our students in no other way than when you teach them. And you know about their strengths, you know about their weaknesses, and you know where they need to go. So it was a great experience for me, and I have a special place in my heart for this class. So, it is with great pride that I stand before you today, like I do every year, and list the accomplishments of this year's senior class. They have represented their families, school, and community well, and have carried on many of the fine traditions that make Georgetown High School so special. Collectively, they represent diverse interests and have an impressive list of accomplishments. 54% of the seniors participated in athletics. They have excelled on the athletic field and earned a number of state tournament bids, and our boys soccer team were North sectional champions. 33% of the class participated in music. We have won countless group and individual music awards in various competitions. 27% of the class belongs to the National Honor Society. 2% of the class have earned a certificate of mastery, thus making them eligible for a tuition-free education at a state college and university in Massachusetts. 34% of the class are eligible to receive John and Abigail Adams scholarships. 92% of the class will be continuing their education at many diverse and distinguished institutions. Please feel free to browse the list posted on our website and outside the guidance office. It is extremely impressive. Individuals in this class have been awarded scholarships worth more than $72,000 and potentially up to $144,000 if they choose to utilize the Adams scholarships. This is the highest total in my 11 years as principal of Georgetown High School. Every year at this time, I struggle with what I would like to say to the graduating class. Like many adults, I have been, or more accurately, I am, where you are going. There is so much I would like to say, but it's so hard to figure out where to start. And of course, I only have a limited amount of time, so I'll be quick. I would like to say that after days of contemplation, I finally found inspiration from the most unlikely of sources, the weather. For the past 3 days, I have been sifting through every weather site and watching every weather report known to man. All the while having hundreds and thousands of people asking me if we were going to have this ceremony outside or not, and when they needed to know by. Well, I don't have a crystal ball, so I was uncertain about the answer. And then it dawned on me. That's what you must be thinking about. Uncertainty. Maybe not about the weather, but uncertainty about what lies ahead of you. Many of you are filled with uncertainty at this point in your life because it's time for you to choose a direction, a road to travel down. You, like I, do not have a crystal ball. At least I don't think you do. And you can't see what is between where you want to go and where you are now. You are filled with uncertainty. You will have so many decisions to make without knowing for sure how they will turn out. Don't worry though, I found some great advice for you. It's so good I'm going to use it myself. I found it, it was given by a New York Times columnist named David Brooks, who stated, I can tell you that when you have trouble making up your mind about something, tell yourself you'll settle it by flipping a coin. But do not go by how the coin flips. Go by your emotional reaction to the coin flip. Are you happy or are you sad that it came up heads or tails? Then you can follow your heart. As Omid Kordestani said, in life, you make the small decisions with your head and the big decisions with your heart. So, when you come to a crossroad like you have recently, embrace your decisions. Do not fear them. As Ed Helms said, don't be afraid to fear because it sharpens you. It challenges you. It makes you stronger. And when you run away from fear, you are also running away from the opportunity to be your best possible self. So to sum things up, don't fear uncertainty, and hope that you have very few decisions in your life that depend upon the weather. Congratulations and good luck. At this time, we would like to award a few scholarships. As I previously had stated, the list is very impressive, and most of these scholarships were given out Wednesday morning at our senior award ceremony. There are a few left that we would like to give out at this time, and I am honored to give out the Michael J. Donahoe Memorial Scholarship. Michael Donahoe Scholarship is given in memory of Mike Donahoe, a former facilities manager of the Georgetown Public Schools, soccer commissioner of the Georgetown Athletic Association, and a longtime friend of many Georgetown residents. This scholarship is awarded to a Georgetown resident who has demonstrated good citizenship, involvement in school and community, and will be attending a 4-year college or university. The following criteria was considered: demonstration of school and community involvement, character traits of citizenship, GPA, financial need, and the content of an essay. I am very honored to give out this year's recipients to Jillian Malo and Jackie Clavot. At this time, I would like to introduce to you the chairman of the Georgetown School Committee, Mrs. Bobby Linares, who will give out the Baker Adams Scholarships.
Good morning, everyone. On behalf of the Georgetown School Committee, I would like to extend our congratulations to the graduating class of 2014. It gives me great pleasure to stand before you to present 10 graduates with the Baker Adams Scholarship. The Baker Adams Scholarship has awarded over $220,000 in scholarships to Georgetown residents. Today, we will be distributing a combined total of $20,000. Baker Adams was a lifelong resident of Georgetown, a well-respected attorney in the Georgetown behavioral area, and devoted much of his adult life to our community. Serving on the Finance Committee, Board of Selectmen, and as the town moderator for 25 years are just a few examples of his dedication to Georgetown. In keeping his legacy alive, it is the duty of the school committee to select students that have displayed a similar commitment. The following students are recipients of a $1,000 scholarship, and as I read your name, if you could please step forward. Sally Barrett, Pat York, and Barbara DeVette. The following students are recipients of a $1,500 scholarship. Alexander Brannon, Isabel Harker, and Mary Beth LaPlaca. The following students are recipients of a $2,500 scholarship. Jacqueline Claveau, Matt Gott, and Mackenzie Snyder. Now, the Citizen Scholar Award is given to a student who has demonstrated a strong sense of civic and community involvement, while at the same time excels in his academic studies. This year's recipient has shown a strong commitment to the school and community through participation in numerous clubs and organizations that have a positive impact on others. He has been a leader among his peers and a very well-rounded young man. It gives me great pleasure to award the 2014 Citizen Scholar Award in the amount of $4,000 to Ryan Baha. Thank you again, and congratulations to this great class. Good luck.
Mr. Lucia, following members of the class of 2014 seated in front of you have fulfilled all of their requirements for graduation.
Mary Elizabeth LaPlaca. Mackenzie Stone Snyder. Bryn Olivia Bowden. Janelle Marie Barrison. Sally Wade Barrett. Lacey Ariel Bociccio. Bridget May Bratland. Kyla Rose Campbell. Ryan Cameron Baja. Neil Gauthier Murphy. Luke Thomas O'Connell. Jack David Denley. Patrick Thomas Bjork. Alexander Jacob Brannon. Jonathan Rodney Brock. Frederick Timothy Chabra Jr. Catherine Ruth Caraglia. Jacqueline Olivia Claveau. Cassandra Elise Conti. Kaya Bernice Cooper. Madison Taylor Cradle. Callie Elizabeth Crocker. Stacy Jean Marie Delacroix. Barbara Dorothy DeVoe. Matthew Joseph Chickering. Christopher William Chickalakis. Nicholas Richard Carenti. Thomas Matthew Coy. Mason James Dawling. Benjamin Allen Denoncourt. Cameron James Durkee. Vincent Val Incarnation. Nakia Shonali Diaz. Kathleen Scott DeMayo. Bridget Elizabeth Edwards. Elise Esther Ferreira. Molly J. Frackleton. Isabel Heidan Harker. Emily Marie Holbrook. Hannah Jean Janelle. Jackson Thomas Fritz. Samuel Elijah Gazunas. Joseph Dalton Gisty. Michael Anthony Gotchakowski. Matthew William Gott. Alexander Charles Grenier. Duncan John Huff. John Max Marius Howland. Erin Nicole Johnson. Samantha Jane Johnson. Kayla Elizabeth Knudsen. Constantina Kumandoros. Nicole Amy Lacasse. Alexandra Mary Lambright. Marissa Ann Lathrop. Kayla G. Lamato. Colby Robert Ingraham. Rory Edmund Kavanaugh. Richard Barry Langell. Timothy Michael Lee. Michael John McDonald Jr. Justin Patrick McCray. Daniel Patrick Manning. Cameron Charles McClung. Nicole Ashley Latalian. Emma Louise Lostamolo. Olivia Karina Lowe. Jillian Marie Melo. Samantha Michelle Miani. Emily Nicole Muskis. Emily Fallon Mulligan. Haley Francis Murphy. Jeremy Lucan McFadden. Thomas Reed Mulligan. Benjamin Thomas Nelk. Connor Moore O'Grady. Garrison Michael Ouellette. Cameron Douglas Parker. Scott David Perry. Ethan Clifford Peterson. Jenya Pankova with Tigger. Taylor Madison Turgeon. Natasha Elaine Schmeltz. Allison Irene O'Grady. Danielle Anez Sasha. Amanda Lee Shepard. Rebecca Ann Skutak. Jessica Ann Tentendo. Matthew John Prescott. Timothy Joseph Quinn. Connor Randolph Reeves. Owen Matthew Ricker. Jacob Samuel Rosenthal. Reno Jake England Sarge. Augustus Mealy Savage. Patrick Sanderson Slack. Amanda Marie Wooten. Alyssa Grace York. Elliot Abraham Sotnick. Zachary John Sawicki Switzer. Kevin Joseph Turbin. Justin Richard Titus. Jared Stimson Warren. Brandon Christopher Willis. John Lincoln Willis.
Congratulations to all of you. I would now like to ask the senior members of the chorus to come forward, please.
I'd like to thank everyone for coming to our graduation ceremony and sharing this moment with us. First off, let me congratulate the class of 2014 on this wonderful achievement. A big thank you to all our parents and families who stood by us to get to this day. And finally, sincere gratitude goes to the faculty and teachers of the Georgetown school system as they gave their all to prepare us for the future. Although we might not always appreciate it, we are really lucky to have grown up together. I know we all love to say that we can't wait to get out of here, but deep down, Georgetown will always be our home. Last week, I was looking through some old pictures of our class, and I was thinking about how much we have all changed. 4 years ago, all the girls were wearing North Face and Ugg boots. We all had braces, and Jack Denley was fantasizing about his truck. Flash forward to this year, girls were still wearing North Faces, just Matt Prescott had braces, and Jack Denley was still fantasizing about his truck. But seriously, we have changed a lot. To illustrate how far we've come, I'm reminded of our first Thanksgiving pep rally. As you all know, our rivals are the Manchester Hornets, so we came up with the brilliantly unique idea to create a giant hornet's nest that the Royal Lancer would crush in humiliating defeat. At least that was the plan on paper. We gathered together in my garage, armed with duct tape and paint, ready to build a float that would keep us out of last place. Because like Mr. Prescott knows, the seniors always win. The first part of the plan was to fool around for 45 minutes and wait for Cam Turkey to arrive. Check. So far, so good. The second part of the plan was to construct this enormous beehive. Our blueprint seemed foolproof. But once we ran out of packing peanuts and started using trash bags full of leaves, I kind of got the feeling it wasn't going to plan. Honestly, the entire float looked like crap. By the time we got to the school, it had fallen out of the pickup truck twice. And once we set it up in the gym, it looked even worse. I remember looking around the other floats in the gym. The seniors had a Batman float. Everyone knows nothing can beat Batman. Even the sophomores had come up with something cool. I found myself thinking, Neil, this is your first big job as class president. You need to find some way to salvage the situation. So, in a stroke of genius, I grabbed some ribbed streamers from the floor and decided to throw them around our area. Even though I'm not really sure what party supplies have to do with a giant hornet massacre. The float was awful, and needless to say, we lost. I guess my point in all this is that's in the past. Just take a look at us now. We are a class with a broad array of talent and accomplishments. Our classmates have won art awards. They've been to DECA Nationals. They won state singing awards. They've been soccer state finalists, baseball state champions, and cross-country record setters. And we've done all that in just 4 short years. Now we're headed all over the country with bigger opportunities away, and many more doors are open to us. Even if that opportunity is to sleep until 3 in the afternoon, and that door is the 24-hour open sign at the downtown. I guess the difference is we are on our own now. No more hand-holding. No more living with mom and dad. No more nacho day. We have to get out there and make things happen for ourselves. I'm not going to give you any cliche advice or make any bold predictions. Honestly, what do I know that you don't know already about yourselves? But I do have a favorite quote that I'd like to share with you. Climb the mountain not to plant your flag, but to embrace the challenge. Enjoy the air and behold the view. Climb it so you can see the world, not so the world can see you. All through our high school experience, it seems we have always been just trying to make it to lunch, and then make it to the weekend, and finally make it to the end of the year. But we no longer need to worry about how this grade will get us into college, and how that club will look on our application. We are at the top of our mountain. It's time to enjoy the moment, open up to new experiences, and continue to learn for the sake of learning. Graduates, the time is finally here. Take one last look around, because it's the last time you will ever be gathered together in one place as the class of 2014. You are the best class I could ever imagine being a part of, so now go out and change the world. Thank you.